Hello, everybody. We've got a show that promises to be mildly interesting for your listening and or watching enjoyment. Why not both? We start things up with an entirely new recurring monologue segment. I'm calling it, with apologies to John Steinbeck, Travels with Jared in Search of America. Then we've got Andreas Becker of Clio Draft in the hizzy. There are lots of things he can't talk about, but then there are lots of things that he can talk about. So we thread the needle. And in the counter program, the Wheel of Justice returns. I've wanted to do a travelogue for the podcast for quite some time, and I feel like it's about time to do so. Now, you may be asking yourself, why would I call it Travels with Jared in Search of America? That's because I am an ugly American, and I only really travel within the parameters of the contiguous United States and Hawaii. That's not entirely true. I've been out of the country a few times, but mostly I'm hanging out in America. I don't know that I do all that well in Europe. The French don't like me in Canada or in France. So here's chapter 37 in Travels with Jared. And we call this one, Let the Buffalo Chips Fall Where They May. Now, I've got a partnership with the Wyoming State Bar Association, which I've had for quite a while now. I do some consulting for them. Occasionally I'll go out to the great state of Wyoming. So I've done a number of conferences out there. I've got a sister-in-law who lived in Colorado until recently. Producer Evan DeSherry lives in Colorado. My favorite college football team is Buffaloes, so I like being out there. So I'll fly into Denver. I'll drive up to Wyoming. So I've been in Cheyenne, kicking around Laramie. I drove across the entire state one time. I told you, Travels with Jared across America, in Search of America. Have we found it yet? Stay tuned. So the last time I was out in Wyoming, I thought to myself, hey, I'll bring my travel companion. My daughter will still talk to me, unlike my son, so she's good to go on the road with. And she likes horseback riding, she likes animals, so I said, oh, this is cool. Let's go to this place that I found in Cheyenne called Terry's Bison Ranch. I don't know who Terry is, but I know that there are bison at this ranch, which I'm pretty sure are similar to buffalo, and I know what buffalo are. So, by the way, I eat bison instead of ground beef. Really lean and quite delicious. So I don't know if I'd ever seen a bison outside of in a pan somewhere. So we go to the bison ranch in Cheyenne, and I'm like, okay, it's April. It should be pretty warm out here, but I have terrible news. It is actually not warm in Wyoming in April. I actually hit 2 whiteout snowstorms, once driving across Wyoming and once driving across Colorado. Unexpected. So we get to the bison ranch, right? Is this an actual place? Look it up online. Cool vistas. 100 bison, literally like 100 bison, baby bison, adult male bison, adult female bison, just roaming the land. And they've got these cabins set up, and we can kind of look at the bison from the cabin. And they've got the restaurant where they serve up bison. So it's kind of fucked up in that way. But you can't get a bison burger there. So, this is great. We're going to be one with nature. We're going to be one with the bison. And we get to the cabin, and the cabin's got 2 beds. And my daughter's like, awesome, I get my own bed. This is great. Giant queen bed. Only the thing we underestimated was how fucking cold it is on the plains in Wyoming in April. And it was about 12 degrees the first night we were there. Now, the bigger problem we had was that there was no heat in our cabin. So much for one bed. We had to huddle for warmth under 47 blankets. But I'm like, it's cool. The next day we'll get up. You'll do a little horseback riding. And then we get the big event. It's called the bison train. So I have a little train. They take that tiny train out into the field, and you're amongst the bison. You get to feed the bison, throw them a couple pellets of food. You can pet the bison. Real American experience that I'm giving to my child. So we get to the bison train. load up. The bison train doesn't have any heat either, and it's still cold as balls. Now, another issue arises. The conductor of the bison train, so apparently you don't need a lot of training to be a bison train conductor. There's not like a course for this at the community college. So the bison train conductor comes in, drunk as balls, and we find out that the heating mechanism in the bison train is actually propane. So he fucking fires up the propane as high as it can go, and he's like, hold on, I'm going to get a blowtorch. And there are about 6 of us, maybe 8 of us in the bison train. And we're like, no, we're good. We'll be warm enough. Don't fucking blow us up. So the drunk bison train conductor gets in, and there's a few ladies from England there, mother and a daughter, and I think I think somebody else, like a granddaughter. And the drunk bison train conductor begins to hit on the English lady, the grandmother. Clearly not interested in this dude. Maybe not the best maneuver on his part. Not a ladies' man, per se. And now we're stuck on this fucking train that's going like 2 miles an hour. And we got like 45 minutes ahead of us. Should I have gotten off the bison train? Probably. But why would I have robbed my child of this great American experience through the prairie to see the bison? So, bison conductor gets his shit together, gets on the mic, and is like, the thing about it is I don't know a fucking thing about bison. To which I say, sir, this is the bison train. That's the one thing you have to know. So he knows jack shit about bison. So we're not learning anything about bison on this trip. So you get out to the middle of the field, and there are literally like 100 bison. Tiny ones, as I said, bigger ones. These things, bison are fucking huge. So you're supposed to take these little pellets and throw them out of the train to get the bisons to gather around the train so you can view them, take pictures of them, maybe pet them. But our guy, the drunk bison train conductor, takes the whole fucking bucket of bison chum and throws it out into the field. Now we're being ransacked by bison. Bison to the left of us, bison to the right of us, bison everywhere, shaking the train back and forth, trying to get on the bison train. I'm cut at one point. My hand is bleeding. And this guy's like, we got to get the fuck out of here. And so he fires up the bison train, and he starts like rolling through the tracks, like knocking bison over as we go. So complete shit show, Hindenburg level disaster. And so we're rolling back at top speed of about 4 miles an hour. And we get to near the end of the tour, and the bison train conductor points to a little house, and he's like, there was some president who slept there and visited the bison ranch. And this guy in the back goes, it was Teddy Roosevelt. I read it online. And the bison train conductor guy is like, I fucking hate Teddy Roosevelt. And I'm like, wait, you had beef with Teddy Roosevelt? How old are you? So the good thing is that the bison train remains on track. We roll in to the bison train station after a 45-minute harrowing excursion. No deaths. And we get off the train. I tell the people who are standing outside the train, you got to come get your boy, because somebody's going to be mauled by a bison. It ain't going to be me. And so I had the forethought, as a regular traveler and experiencer of Americana, to have 2 hotel room reservations for that night, just in case. So we decided to check out early and advance to the next hotel in Laramie. And when I was checking out, the desk clerk at the bison ranch was like, was it the drunk bison conductor? And I'm like, yeah, it was the drunk bison conductor. Next up, we have a sobering discussion with Andreas Becker of Clio Draft about document assembly and more. No bison were harmed in the making of this podcast. Well, I've effectively run out of things to say, which is awkward because, as you'll know, this is a podcast. So I'm simply going to hum show tunes to myself for the next several hours. No, I'm just fucking around. That sounds awful. Plus, I don't know any show tunes. Let's interview our guest. instead. Our guest today, he's back. Well, I guess he's back for the first time on the show. It's my guy, Andreas Becker, the director of sales. Hello, at Clio Draft. How are you, sir?
Hey, Jeff. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to have you back, man. How you been?
It's good to be back. I've been great.
Let's ease into this.
Please. It's a Monday.
If people don't know you, can I have your story? Give me the LawYaw story. So people don't know what LawYaw is. That was a precursor to the Clio Draft. So talk to me about that. Like, how'd you get into this shit?
So the very short story is I'm a recovering attorney, and in law school, I met this cat named Tucker Cottingham.
Yes.
Who went on to found a company called LawYaw. Definitely a polarizing name. I miss it, honestly.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. It rolled off the tongue. It got people's attention for sure.
It did. Yes.
And he and another classmate, Justin White, we were all a study group randomly. And we all went off to practice our separate ways. Tucker started LawYaw, went through Y Combinator. I saw what he was doing, and I thought, hey, this makes sense to me. You need someone to sell this. And I didn't have a massive tech background, but it made sense to me. Like, as an end user of products like the one that he had created, I thought it was better than what was out in the market, and it allowed me to kind of close the loop on, what was an expensive and long, travails as an attorney trying to figure out what I was going to do next. So I found a really nice place in LawYaw. We integrated early with Clio. We were highly utilized and solved a very clear problem. And God, it's almost 4 years ago we were acquired.
I know, that's crazy. An entire Olympic cycle.
It's been a really cool story.
Can I ask you this? So, like, the startup stuff is kind of crazy. Like, especially early stage startup, you got to do a lot of shit. Like, everybody's like chief cook and bottle washer. Did you like have sales experience before you went to LawYaw, or did you just like figure it out?
It's funny. I had sales experience, but I wouldn't say I was good. I wouldn't say I was good at all. It was interesting having Tucker kind of like hover over my shoulder during like those first initial sales calls I had.
Because it's like you three dudes and like that's it, right? And they're like, don't fuck it up.
Basically. Well, I mean, I was worried. You don't want to. It's great working with friends, but you don't want to mess their thing up, especially early on. And like Tucker and I and Justin, we still have very direct conversations every once in a while, and we've kind of developed a shorthand so that we can be efficient with that. But I think we've all managed to be able to stay really close friends, put our business hats on when we need to. It's crazy that we're here now.
How many total years at this point at LawYaw?
Coming up on 7 years.
Wow,
which is crazy. I want to put a bow on this. I was not good at sales, but I understood the market.
I sucked ass, but I figured it out.
But I understood the market, and I just started. I had tons and tons of repetitions. I was really the only sales person, if you will. So I probably got 3 years of sales experience in my first year, and something started to click. And so I'm happy. It was an uncomfortable period for sure. Yeah. But then like things just started to make a little bit more sense for me.
I feel like that's a lot of what it is too. Is like, I find that like having the industry knowledge is really important for that kind of role. And a lot of people don't have it. Just fucking winging it. And attorneys, I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like attorneys get pissy about that. Like if I'm talking to them and they're like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, you don't understand that I filed this particular motion in this particular court. I'm like, I'm sorry, my bad.
They can, and I've got a number of salespeople who have felt the brunt of that, and so I do my best to kind of scale some of that. I can tap dance when I need to.
Yeah.
But I practiced for 3.5 years. There's plenty of stuff that.
Oh, for sure. I tell people the same thing. Like, I've practiced law in like 20 years, bro. Take it easy. I don't remember any of this. Yeah. I might as well be Abraham Lincoln over here.
But I think it is important. I think
Yeah.
there's a growing interest to kind of get more and more legal talent into the legal tech space. That wasn't like a thing when I was graduating law school.
Oh yeah, nobody was like, I need my legal tech job. Like that wasn't a thing.
No, they were not. You're right.
But now
It's starting, and I think there's a lot of opportunity to get this into the actual curriculums at law school. There are a lot of really cool people who are kind of on the cutting edge there. We'll talk about our boy, Kenton Bryce.
Oh, go ahead.
Sure.
Would you like to?
Kenton,
yes.
right?
Would you like to explore that a little bit? Explore studio space.
We can
give Kenton Bryce
just like
a shout out.
Call out. He's one of the OGs that I remember from the early ABA tech show days.
This is good. Like it's a positive call out. Sometimes people catch strays on this podcast, but not right now.
I'm trying to think of who my negative call out is going to be, but yeah, no, I know he's super interested in really equipping his students and kind of fundamentally changing what, the law school education could be, or what, a master's program could look like to be a law firm administrator, what have you.
Yeah. Let the negative shout out percolate for a little bit. I'm sure you'll come up with something.
I'm still trying to think.
So you do the lawyer thing, then you get acquired. So were you guys thinking like, this is our play, we're going to get acquired by a larger vendor? Or were you just like, we're going to make this as big as we can and see where it goes?
I didn't know what I was doing, Jay.
You were just like...
I was just trying to sell. I mean, I thought that there was absolutely the opportunity there.
Yeah.
Once things start kind of working, and I had the benefit of, I understood the market to a certain extent, but I had a really good product to sell.
Yeah.
You're trying to think like, how big could we make this? But it's just like there's a series of peaks and then valleys and peaks and valleys. And so, when the opportunity presented itself with Clio, you're thinking this is going to change a lot of things about my day to day and the latitude I have to do what I want to do, how I want to do it.
Yeah.
It's been a massive, I can't believe it's been 4 years.
I know, it's nuts.
It's crazy.
Okay. Can I ask you about this? Like, let's change direction a little bit. Let's not talk about VLEX because I don't want you to get fired. So we're bypassing that. If folks want to hear about VLEX, fast or rewind to the last episode. I talked about VLEX, Clio's acquisition of VLEX. Let's talk about ClioCon instead. Boston, 2025. We're going to be there.
Let's talk about it.
I mean, do people need another reason to go? I don't know that they do.
To ClioCon?
Yeah. Other than the fact that we're both going to be there. Like, what more do you need?
I think that'll suffice.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, what's going on this year? Like, this is going to be I feel like this one's going to be the biggest one ever, right? Because the next one is always the biggest one ever.
Exactly. I mean, I'm in the process of fashioning a couple of sessions. But I think it's always, especially when we have new venues. We only did Austin for 1 year. We had been in the
Can you say why that was? Like, that was odd.
No, again, another subject I don't want to get fired over. No, I honestly
moving on.
I don't know if we're going to do Boston for 2. I don't know how it will work.
All right. You should probably stop talking now. Anyway, what's happening in Boston this year?
I think Boston's going to be really exciting. There's a lot of stuff that we're trying to cook up on the draft side of the house. The company just continues to build new, interesting products, and obviously VLEX will be on the table. There'll be a lot more information and guidance on all of that. If you haven't been to a ClioCon before, I mean, sometimes it's very geographically based, and how we finally made it to the Northeast.
We
made it to New England.
Clio's the best legal tech conference I think there is. Like, full stop. I will say that. I'm not afraid to say that.
Jack and everyone take a lot of pride in it.
Yeah.
It's not something, the planning begins really, really early, and I think they continue to do a great job every year. Can't believe I've been doing that for this long.
Can you talk about the sessions you're going to do, or is that awaiting a release?
Oh, no, they're going to be, we're going to do a series of sessions just in terms of kind of novice, intermediate, and expert, introductions to document automation. There's nothing particularly sexy about them right now.
Not yet, at least.
I got anointed. Yeah, I'm trying to inject a little sizzle into them, but it's only so much you can do with the topic.
Right, right.
But we try and be functional. It's not all about the sizzle.
I'll bring you some pasties
I'm bringing
to the
the
event.
steak.
I'll help you out.
Yeah.
Okay, in terms of let's talk about like the document assembly process, because this is always interesting to me. So let's do intake, because I think like it's really helpful to have. Yeah, we got to. I mean, I feel like it's helpful to have like
it's all a process. And,
yes, unified, integrated intake with document assembly. You just want to vibe on that for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think so backing up, just everything AI is infiltrating every component of legal tech in general. For the most part, for the better. I'm seeing a lot in the ways of, AI informed intake that a lot of firms are interested in. I think this is ultimately good. What I've found over the years is, the idea of intake, it's kind of thought as, it's very often used as kind of this crude instrument.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh yeah, I can send out a questionnaire, pile it up with 50 questions, 100 questions, however many questions you may have. And they'll fill it back in and it'll go into my documents. I've started increasingly seeing in a good way that people are using it more strategically and kind of like understanding, the data shows no more than 9 questions if you want to put an intake on your website, because people just stop filling this stuff out. Now, the data...
like 37-page intake form, right?
People send me their links.
Yeah,
people would send me their links, and they'd be like, "I don't know why no one's filling this out," and I'd be kind of like, "Okay, well, so question 62 was, have you ever been on a PIP?" Which is a pretty technical term,
right?
And people are asking for a lot of personal information before pen is to paper. There are a lot of people
right. That's the thing
to like understand that, but there are a lot of people who have just kind of used intake and thought of it as just like, this is when I collect all of my information, and you really need to think about when and how you're collecting that information. I used to do the same thing. I would have, and back in, I don't want to date myself, but sending out a PDF, just asking people to fill in that information for me.
Right.
And then people, they struggle getting some of the financial information or some of the medical information that you don't need quite yet, but it holds the entire process up. So figuring out how to tranche the information that you are collecting.
Staging it, I think, is helpful for sure, even though a lot of people don't view it that way. So how do you, what do you think the impact of AI is going to be on all that stuff? Like in theory, it should make the intake process easier, including feeding stuff into documents. But is that happening now?
It should make things a lot easier, and you're starting to see it in certain softwares that are taking kind of like an agentic kind of approach to that, and the curated, do you think you need this? I think there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of, these models. Can they handle the nuance that sometimes people respond with?
Oh, right, yeah.
Because, the more open that you can give people guidance as to here's how to answer the question, but people say all sorts of things. I think ultimately it'll be very, very helpful in terms of, feeding into document automation. But I think they're separate in terms of, yes, we want the AI to collect information in a certain way, and then thinking about how to structure it the proper ways is the other component.
Yeah, I think people worry about putting rails around AI, which is hard to do. But I think it's interesting that you brought up the agent piece of this too. Like, where do you see that going in terms of document assembly? Because in theory, you don't necessarily need a human to do that work anymore.
Well,
I mean, in theory, I could have an AI agent that drafts and sends to clients, right? Is that crazy?
It's a good question. I think we're still a ways out from that. I think we get a lot of people coming in with questions about just generative AI. Where's the generative element of this, Andreas, or what have you? And I have to kind of back people up and totally understand that the generative components are very, very attractive, but it's not like an either or. They kind of layer on top of each other. What we really specialize in is having these consistent, really trusted frameworks for a lot of that repetitive work that you don't want generative AI to do.
Yeah.
You do not want hallucinations and any sort of potential for variations in some of these consistent workflows that don't have tons and tons of variations, but maybe they're variations, that's you productize your practice over the years to use this certain type of language and to use these specific type of workflows. And the generative element comes in, is very helpful. And, maybe that second layer, if you have a unique case or a unique instance that you need some guidance on, or when people are trying to come up with that first draft. And so that's where the people will come in and they'll say, hey, I needed to, draft me this motion to suppressor or what have you. I've never done one like this. And it's like, that's not what we do. If you can get, the generative AI to build you something that you can check yourself and sign off on that this is good, then turn it into a template and then continue to reuse that.
Yeah. The hybrid idea is the way to go, it sounds like, at least for now. Like you've got
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And obviously, as we just keep on seeing in the news, check your work.
Oh my God. Well, I think some of this is like this traditional lawyer desire. And I don't think it's just lawyers. I think it's like other businesses as well, where the business owner is kind of like, I just want to push this off my desk and give it to somebody else to take. Yeah. Right. That's a big part of it too. So that's I think with document assembly, I tell people this all the time. You need to put in the effort of like crafting the process before you do anything.
Yes.
Am I overstating that? Maybe I'm overstating it.
No. It's just, that's the place where we want to continue to kind of meet people where they're, solos and smaller law firms. It's like, they need these types of tools, but maybe they're already kind of like short on bandwidth. So we want to try and find ways to make it easier for them to create these workflows.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, you do need to put in time. Otherwise, this whole thing, it just becomes an arms race. Like there's no future where, you're not going to need to put in any time. Otherwise, you just have a commoditized application of just like everyone else is.
You might as well legislate your job out of existence, and then it's two AIs talking to each other.
That's the thing. It's, paralegals are going to be like paralegals, but they're going to be legal program managers in a lot of cases. They already are.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as just moving from a typewriter to Microsoft Word, honestly. It's just this next iterates that next dynamic element to the practice, but it is very novel still at the moment. It's crazy. I shouldn't underplay it. It's crazy how powerful AI is.
All right, so let me ask you this. You brought this up before. I think this is interesting. I think the tough thing is like, if you've got templates, you're good to go. Because you've built those, you have an understanding of how they work for the most part. But this use case of like, I don't have a template for this, I need to create this new document, and using AI for that, like that's got to be a big thing on a go forward basis, right? I feel like that's happening with attorneys and pro se people right now.
100%. It's just the next iteration of, some of these companies that provided them out of the box, and there are plenty of secondary source providers and people who provide like, here's your model template.
Right.
This is just the next generation of, boilerplate. It's AI boilerplate stuff. Again, it's going to take your understanding of the practice area, your ability, the new ability to like understand prompts and how to design exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah.
That's where the variation is going to come in. Again, otherwise we're just looking at an increasingly commoditized product that everyone's going to be selling.
Like the logic tiers is where it gets complicated too, I feel like. And figuring that out is difficult. I could see people using AI to help with that, but I think you have to have a good idea of how that all works, especially in certain practice areas.
And I think kind of just building workflows, like actually the maps and Miro boards, those were all the rage maybe like 5 years ago. Kind of like understand your workflows and working backwards from all the different iterations. I think those are going to make a major comeback as well.
I could see that.
As people try and, establish some guardrails, even though you don't like those guardrails.
I guess that's part of the question. Like AI is like basically unregulated at this point. So like, what are your thoughts on AI generally for the future of legal? Like, are we talking robot lawyers? Do we get there? Because this is always something I'm really interested in.
Again, I think it's an arms race. It's just people like people are going to keep on pushing the envelope. The big firms are going to want more powerful, more this, more that,
Right.
in terms of the case law that it can search. I mean, at a certain point, I don't know if it becomes a zero-sum game. And we finally get to a point where, no, this is actually scientifically proven as this is the only outcome that you could come to. I think we just get more and more precise. I don't know when we get to that point where I don't think lawyers will let it happen. Honestly,
there's still a little bit of a guilt. 2037.
Yeah.
I'm putting it on the calendar right now.
We got a little bit of time ahead of us. What everyone's probably, and I mean, I hope that this is the case, is, every pitch deck you see in every, legal tech company. I mean, it's the thing we want to do, 80%, 90%, whatever it is of, people with a legal problem, those people are not getting legal assistance. So I think you'll continue to start seeing that, hopefully more in the public space and the non-for-profit space. I mean, that's where AI can just help so much.
I know. Well, yeah, we'll see where that lands. We talked about this on a prior episode, which is like you got the Legal Services Corporation and all these entities that are funded by government resources.
I don't know how all of that's...
if that goes away, who kind of fills that gap? I don't know. So let me ask you one more thing before we get to the next segment, is on the other side of this coin. So I think there's plenty of reasons to be worried about AI, but I also, as a business owner, would not want to be like, let me not do this. I would want to be able to like figure out how to use it and at least understand it. So when you get people who are like reluctant for whatever reason, like, okay, I've read about hallucinations. Like, how do I put rails around this software? What do you tell them? Like, do you try to comfort them, or are you just like, yeah, sorry, it's rough out there?
Well, I'm not the one pushing the AI solutions.
Yeah, not that you have to push it, but just in terms of like having a conversation. Like, how do you think people could broach that?
I think people need to give themselves both a kind of like actual economic budget of sorts and like a time budget to explore things. And it's no different than it's been with document automation or legal resource, any of these other tools. It's hard to do that, but you need to budget in some time for actual like progress or process growth and whatever technology is accompanying that. Very difficult to do. Maybe you do it once a year. Maybe you do it once every, twice a year, what have you, but you give yourself a budget. I mean, this is what's happening with these large firms. Like, everyone has a set budget to go out and just get AI and play around with it and see what happens.
Right.
And the license to do that as a smaller business owner is, it's more difficult to justify that. So kind of running the numbers, but there are a lot of free ways to play around with it as well. I would be looking to thought leaders like yourself, Jared.
Yes, naturally. Or my mom.
Yeah, but I would find like those easy use cases to try and implement something. I mean, it might be harder for the solo attorney, but depending on your practice area, where the easiest, lowest lit places I can just start to play around with things. When people start, if they're wanting to experiment, the grander this experiment, the less likely it is for you to have like any sort of positive outcomes, especially with like document automation. I get people, I want to do your entire discovery workflow and we'll do everything end to end. It's like, why don't we just start with an engagement agreement? Why don't we just start with like this correspondence so you can get at least a positive, I figured out how to do that. And then it starts to build a little bit.
But what you talked about, like, that's accessible to small firms. Like,
what you say?
That's accessible to small firms. Like, let's do this project. Kind of like a Skunk Works project, and we'll test it out, and then we'll see how it goes. That's totally viable.
Yeah, that's the way. Just do something small, honestly, and see if you can like just complete that little experiment and see if you can automate. And if it feels like, and you don't automate something, you don't create a template, you don't create a workflow for the first time or the second time. It's the 5th time, it's the 20th time, it's the 50th time that you have to do it. I work for an automation company. I've got all the access I want to create email templates or whatever. I still write emails manually.
Yeah.
Because it's just not in our nature to put in the work to do the thing that's going to save you time over the next 50, 60, 100 times you do it. But that's why the little things start to add up really quickly. And if you can complete them and start to build on those are the people that I tend to see have the most success with any sort of technology implementation, because they've just scaled it the right way. as opposed to just biting off way more than they can chew early on. And again, that comes down to budgeting time and money for the build out and the pace at which things need to be built out.
Beautiful. I want to end it right there because I don't think I can top that. Beautiful way to put a bow on this. Will you hang around for another segment, perhaps?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Welcome back, everybody. That's right. We're at the counter program portion of the program at this point. It's a podcast within a podcast. This is a conversational space where we can address usually unrelated topics that I want to explore at a greater depth with my guests. Expect no rhyme and very little reason. Andreas, as I mentioned, we've got a new recurring segment just for you called The Wheel of Justice that I'll turn to now. This is based on the Wheel of Drinks at Bukowski Tavern in Boston, where you spin the wheel and buy whatever drink the wheel dictates, because the wheel is wise and the wheel is just. First of all, Andreas, you ready to hit up Bukowski's when we come into town? There is actually a wheel that you spin.
I would hope you hadn't just made that up.
No, it's real.
Yeah. Let's go to Bukowski's.
I have an active imagination.
My first thought.
So as I said, we're gonna we got 8 categories. We may not get to all of them, but we're just gonna spin the wheel, and then I've got questions teed up on each of these categories for you. It's like wild potpourri set of questions. So Evan, when you're ready, let's give her a spin. Second spin. Oh, it's spinning. There it goes. The Wheel of Justice is just, but it also lags. Okay, dive in. Our category is dive in. Andreas, what is the greatest dive bar you've ever been to and why?
The dive bars that I go to, our bar in San Francisco, and it was just a local staple right above Polk Street, and just have lots of memories from our bar, and feel like it dates me quite a bit just thinking about how the pictures and all of the scenery has changed over 2.5 decades, it feels like. But the dive bars you go to, it's because you've been you go back to them. So
is it called R Bar? Is that the name of the bar?
A letter R bar.
Really?
Yeah, and one of my friends, he started selling brisket and nachos out of there to kind of start his culinary career as well. So a lot of late night and midday nachos and brisket. Especially
now that's a real dive bar where I can get brisket at the same time. Mm-hmm. You just need an attached gas station, and we'd be good to go.
There's one across the street.
Of course there is. Yeah. Are you like, oh, there's me and Diane Feinstein at the R Bar from 30 years ago.
That old R Bar call out.
Evan, let's give it another spin. All right, let's see what we come up on this time. The Wheel of Justice is turning. And we have, you're going to like this one. This category is called Original Gangster. Now, I know this is a subject that you are aware of and happy to discuss as an OG yourself, but the question may be hard for you to answer. What's the best rap group of the 1990s? Just
of the
loaded,
90s?
Loaded category.
I would go with, why you got to ask a question like that? I got to go Tribe. But
all right, that's a good answer.
I would have. Well,
you can give me a top 3 if you want.
I feel like I want to go Wu-Tang or Far Side or Souls of Miss. They're too many, but I feel good about Tribe.
That's 100%. A good call. Favorite song? Do you have
Electric Relaxation. We covered this in the last podcast.
We got a newer, hipper audience now, plus OGs in the audience.
Edgier. Is Tribe not edgy enough for them?
We've shed some of the. No. I like Tribe as well. So for those non-edgy members of the audience, I should say, Tribe Called Quest is the band you want to look at. Check that out on Spotify. All right, that was good. I knew you'd be prepared for that one. Let's give it a spin. Let's see what category comes up next.
That was hard.
I know, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Well, I knew this was in your field of expertise. I feel like it goes 90s rap and then document generation. Next category. Monkey business. Monkey business. Okay. This is a meme that's been going around. 100 men versus one gorilla. Who wins?
So I've heard a couple of answers to this, and
I knew you'd have a theory.
No, well, so it's all about stamina. So the gorilla can absolutely, the first 50 people, done.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they're built
You want to be
for
in the
short-
last 50.
They're built for short bursts, so I'd be in that last tranche. Speaking of tranches, I've heard scientifically that like at least 30 will live, but the first 50 are done for.
50 dude. That's crazy though.
I mean, they're like
could take us like 50 dudes.
Have you seen? There's another meme of one of the gorillas just splashing some water on a bunch of people who are like a football field away.
Great.
Yeah. No.
The moral of the story: don't fuck with gorillas.
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes is going to be bad news. You know that shit. That shit starts in San Francisco. Just so you know.
I haven't seen any of those movies.
Right. You got to see the new Planet of the Apes movies. They're good, but all the action takes place in San Francisco. All right, let's spin it. What do we got next? We got
I
some
still
fun
need to catch
categories
up
left
on
here.
the Venom movies that you were telling me about.
Oh, Venom's good. Like those are really funny. All right, James Gang. James Gang is the next topic. There are lots of actors named James. Do you have a top 3 of actors named James? Let me give you some to chew on.
Okay.
James Coburn, who once met a friend of mine on the subway, but when James Coburn asked him to shake his hand, my friend instinctively itched his armpit, and then James Coburn was like, never mind. James Caan from The Godfather, Sonny.
Okay. Yeah.
James Stewart, Jimmy Stewart from It's a Wonderful Life. James Dean from Rebel Without a Cause. James Earl Jones, voice of Darth Vader. James McAvoy from Split and other movies. James Garner, Maverick, Brett Maverick himself. James Franco, the less said about the better.
He's canceled.
Any Jameses you like?
Let's go with Gandalf Amy.
Oh shit! I didn't even include that.
I don't know how that was not a
Wow. That is
James
on me.
Gang,
So many James.
Number
My
one
God.
by a lot. I gotta love
That's a good one.
Caan. James Caan is a great pick
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
And then let me get Jimmy Stewart.
yes.
Let me get James Stewart. I think
Can
that's
I say James Caan?
I think that's a pretty solid top 3.
That James Caan doing yeoman's work in Elf, by the way. The Visible Hatred
He
of
did
Will
so
Ferrell.
much yeoman's work. I'm actually looking up his IMDb right now because he has yeoman's work, Misery.
Oh yes. Yes.
Oh my god, I'm having nightmares.
That's a good one
tonight.
too. Jimmy Stewart though, I like that. Like I'm a big Jimmy Stewart guy.
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
Classic 50s hero.
I gotta seem somewhat cultured.
No, that was pretty good. All right. Spin the wheel. Maybe one more. I don't know. Maybe we'll do them all and we'll just cut the ones we like.
James Caan starred in a movie called Con Man?
No, but that's amazing. Do you wanna keep going down James Caan's IMDb, or shall we move to the next one?
No, I'm good.
I'm
with
ready for
whatever
yours.
its next subject is.
Hey, jealousy is the subject. Here's the deal. There are actually a lot of Andreas Beckers online. Believe it or not. I picked out 3, and I'd like you to tell me which one you're most jealous of. Which person would you most like to be who's not you? Andreas, still going on the James Caan route. Andreas Becker, number 1, is a physicist at the University of Colorado in Boulder, and he's interested in the analysis and simulation of ultra-fast phenomenon in atoms, molecules, and clusters. That sounds impressive. Number 2, Andreas Becker is a German men's field hockey player who won a gold medal at the 1992 Barcelona Games. I didn't even know men's field hockey was part of the Summer Games in 92. And lastly, we got an Andreas Becker from the legal industry. He is the director of legal at Warner Brothers Pictures, a seasoned film production lawyer with significant development and production experience. You could green light the next James who's ever movie, not James Caan. He's not getting much greenlit these days. But we got the field
Let me
hockey
get
player.
the physicist. Let me get the physicist.
Really?
I mean,
Why?
I am
Can you tell me
literally
why?
jealous of the more impressive Andreas Becker in the legal industry. So let me get the
This dude,
physicist.
senior director of legal at Warner Brothers. That's legit.
That is legit. But Dr.
right.
Becker, that kind of rolls off the tongue. Kinda
Dr.
nice,
Becker.
right?
That's pretty sweet. Yeah, I like that. You could be the guy on the soap opera who comes in.
And I'm sure the field hocky. Yeah, he got a gold medal. That's great.
I mean,
Those were the
pretty fucking good.
three that you.
Those were the three. There's many, but those are the top three. All right, let's do these. Let's do all of them, and then we'll edit it.
I like it. That's a good category.
Thank you. Let's do the rest of them. Fuck it. Why not? Let's spin the wheel. Let's do them all, and then we'll edit this after the fact if we need to. This is a good one. Love the Drake.
I'm in Toronto right now.
Are you? Okay, what are the best things to do?
I'm in the 6.
What are the best things to do in Toronto? I want to go to Toronto. What advice would you give me?
I mean, the food is incredible. So go to Boston Pizza and just
Really?
people watch. No, I mean, not for the food, but just people watch. I actually haven't been to a Blue Jays game yet, but I'm going to be going because the Giants are coming. And
nice.
I'm staying right across from Blue Jays Stadium, and it just looks incredible.
Yes.
Going to islands, I would highly recommend on a weekend. And this is like concert season, so I can't remember what it's called, but it's the Budweiser Center. I think I'm going to go see the Offspring there
nice
on Friday.
90s. Yes.
I was supposed to go see Big Sean and Russ on Saturday night, and I was just like, look, I can't. I'm tired. I'm 42. I've got some
like I'm out.
I'm out. I got to prep for my podcast with
right.
Jared.
I'll wait for the Little Sean concert to happen. Then I'm all in.
Yeah.
All right. Just quickly. Rafael Devers on the Giants. Thumbs up. Thumbs down.
We're TBD.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of money. How? I mean, same right back at you.
I was happy.
I bet you were. Everyone thought we stole him away, and I said that's a lot of money, and he's
a DH.
Seem like
it's
we'll
tough.
see what happens. It feels like kind of a desperate move by us.
Yes, but they're playing well this year. All right, let's spin the wheel. We got 2 categories left. Wheel of Justice. What are we going to hit this time? We have Glide Path. Glide Path. Simple question for you. Clio has come out with their After Dark mode, which is what I'm calling their dark mode. So congrats on that. I think you can probably speak about that. So let me ask you this. I think the next logical thing is for Clio Lube to hit the shelves. When do we think that's happening? And what flavors will it come out with? Wait, is that not in the product design roadmap?
Clio Dark, Clio Lube. What's after that? I don't know. Come to ClioCon.
I don't know if we want to speculate. Come to ClioCon to find out. All right. In our last category, we don't even need to spin the wheel. This one's balls out. Balls out. Okay, ready? All of these animal testicles are eaten as food by humans in various parts of the world. We've got bulls called Rocky Mountain oysters. We've got lamb testicles called lamb fries. We've actually got buffalo testicles called criadillos. I had not heard of this before. And then you can actually eat whale testicles called kujura no kugan, which I think you may have had in Japan. Do you have a preferred testicle of choice to eat? Whales,
so did
lambs,
you plan
bulls,
on this being
bison?
the last one? Like, was there potential?
I was hoping this would be the first
question?
one. Yeah, absolutely.
No, Jared.
You got to be prepared for anything.
No, Jared, I don't have a preference.
I do.
Rocky
Mountain
you like
oysters.
Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yeah, I feel like they're smaller,
you've mentioned them on one of. I think you might have mentioned them on our.
I sampled.
Podcast.
I sampled.
Wait,
you just
so
fillet that shit
they're
up.
called lamb fries.
Yeah, I think it's like an Australian thing. It's crazy.
Sense.
People just ingesting testicles everywhere.
All right. Well, let's see. What do they serve those in Boston, or just in Colorado?
There's no heavy testicle food based thing happening in Boston. Sadly,
As far as you know, who knows what's in that?
as far as I know, there could be some underground shit going on. Are these clams? No. Thank you for coming on. I had a lot of fun.
That was fun.
Wheel of Justice. The Wheel of Justice never loses. Anyway, we'll see you next time.
I'll see you out in Boston, Jared.
Hell yeah. Come out and meet us. To learn more about Clio Draft, visit clio.com/draft. Or if you're an OG like me and Andreas, lawyacht.com still redirects there, homies. Now, because I'll always be a 90s kid with a fat-ass parental advisory explicit content t-shirt whose true passion is burning CDs for anyone who would listen, I'm now just doing the modern version of that, which is creating Spotify playlists for every podcast episode that I record where the songs are tangentially related to an episode topic. This week's playlist is songs about America. You know, pre-fascism America, which was still kind of shitty in a lot of ways, but still way better than the current shit version of America. And it's sponsored by MyPillow. I'm just kidding, by the way. I would never let MyPillow sponsor my shit. Don't call, don't write. Join us next time when I challenge J.D. Vance to a prance-off at a Disney property of my choosing. It's Aulani. See you next time.